gals. Well, hope you're all well. It is typical April weather right now. Not quite cold, but not quite warm. Perfect weather, to not dress enough and get a cold. And yet, yeah, well, you know what I'm talking about. It's kind of cool though, actually. Over here, well, you look, we have all our flowers, and those are the spring flowers, the ones that come up spontaneously. And it's amusing because it's just like spring here. And we were in Canada, as most of you know, like last week, and it was still very much like early spring. And once out here in Switzerland, in the plains region, it is really spring. So you see like the trees are starting to have their budding leaves. That's my quince tree. That's the magnolia. I don't know if you could call it a tree really, or a bush or whatever. And it's flourishing. So yeah, and all those little yellow flowers, really nice. It kind of like, brings on that spring period. Yeah. Oh, I did make a vlog the other day. I just realized all of a sudden in my head it was like my first vlog since. It's actually always a challenge when you've been away for a while. There's wind actually in my hat. To go off. It's a challenge when you've been away for a while and you kind of completely go into another mode. Oh, look here. That's kind of nice. There's a few little flowers of varying colors. Kind of nice, yeah. I really like the little spring flowers like that. It really, it just brings on the good vibes. Oh, yes, I was saying that before this, interrupted myself about spring and vlogging and so on. I was talking actually about when you're away out of your routine and how it, you just get into a routine. Some people might say it's a rut, but you have your routines, and when you get out of them, it's very difficult at times to get back in. It's kind of a bumpy road at times. But it was nice. This morning, so we're Sunday today, and so this morning we went to church. It was nice. People came over and asked how things were and so on. And I was a cameraman at church, so I kind of had to be on my ball. Actually, this morning I put my alarm. I didn't need it finally, but just in case, because with the jet lag, I've been waking up naturally about an hour later, and I don't want that, of course, especially not since the service is at 9 in the morning. The service where we film for the YouTube channel. Oh, we had when we were in Canada, we went out for an outing with my brother-in-law and his daughters. My niece was there, and we get along really well. And she was there with her daughter, and we were in my old hometown. It's a place called Sutton. I've made videos there before, so I didn't bother. But what I did notice is the town is kind of being taken over by the city folk. I find that amusing and not. When I was a kid, there would be the weekend, because it was a mountain ski center, Sutton, in Quebec, in the province of Quebec. And there would be people that would be weekend people. And these people would sometimes be there over the summer, but we would call them, they almost call them the foreigners or whatever. And now basically a lot of these people have decided, now that they're boomers or what, like myself, have decided to come and live there, or since COVID especially, a lot of people have become digital nomads. So the town has kind of been taken over. And it is interesting because in the last 6 years, this was been 6 years ago when I went there, you actually feel it. It's being taken over in say, city ideas, and you feel it with the ex-local, well, not the locals, or the former locals, if you want to call them that way. You know, like they're feeling like their town is being taken over. Yeah, it's an amusing little bit of what's going on, and I've noticed that actually in a lot of villages in Quebec. It might be the same all over North America. I can't tell you. I don't know. But in Quebec, there's a lot of villages that have been taken over since the COVID by people who fled the cities, more or less became digital nomads or working from home, and have kind of like taken over the affairs of the towns. Yeah. So that's the thing. So while we were walking around in Sutton, the girls said, "Yeah, let's see, where is there a public toilet or something we would need to go to the toilet?" And so I have an app called Toilet Finder, and it's kind of amusing. Everybody laughed, but whenever it's needed, I pull that thing out, and people are always pretty happy that I have that actual app. And basically, it shows where the public toilets are with a kind of a very crude map. It's not a very good map, but it basically helps you to get there. Okay, so there was one public toilet at the town hall, and it was it looked like it would have been one of these industrial chemical toilets like you see on workplaces or something like that, like for outdoors workplaces. But it was more sophisticated. It was a composting toilet, something like that. Okay, it kind of looked more like TARDIS from Doctor Who, an actual toilet. But anyway, so we went there, and there was my niece's daughter, who was younger, and said, "I don't want to go in there. I don't want to go. I don't want to go." And I could kind of get it actually why she didn't want to go. Anyway, so I said, using my great app called Toilet Finder, I said, "There's another one a little bit further," and I looked and saw that it was in what was called the House for the Elderly, which was some type of community center. Okay, so I said, actually, that was not very far to where the cars park. So we said, well, let's go and walk with the car, walk over towards where the car is at the parking. So we got there, I stayed outside, and the girls went in, and they weren't coming out, so I actually walked in to see if they were having a chat or something, and they were. And the lady who was the responsible person, then they told me, "Oh, well, there is no toilet here for the public, but they let the daughter go." And I said, "Oh, that's amusing," because the Toilet Finder app not only gave the exact address, with the street number and everything of the place, and named it and everything, and I showed her, and she laughed, and she said, "How is it that it is not a public toilet? So how does it come out in this app for everybody?" And I asked, "Well, have many people come?" She says, "No, actually, you're the first ones." But then she looked at me, she says, "But actually, I don't know anybody else who uses the Toilet Finder app. I never heard of it before." Anyway, so if you have one of those apps, or if you need it, you can use it. It's good probably 90% of the time. Okay, anyway. So yeah, that is a bit of a weird vlog, isn't it? But, there are things when you're traveling, all of a sudden you pull out these so-called tools that you need. Oh my goodness, I'm up to 9 minutes and I've only talked about toilets. Okay, that's it for today. DC signing off. Take care, everybody. And you know what? It's kind of nice to be back home, though. It is, Okay. Bye. Take care.